begin the process to make sure that there's a continuity, a continuum of leadership in this district. We cannot leave this district without a superintendent. We cannot have fewer staff members at this point than we already have. I mean, we are already struggling to get the work of the students in this district done at the level that need to be done with the level of staffing we have. So I'm supportive of this. I think the request that we limit this to a year was a reasonable request. I think it takes into consideration our duties and responsibilities as board members, but also doesn't unduly hamstring the district, if you will, if there are decisions to make modifications to the leadership team at some later date. But the decision tonight is a responsible one. If we didn't do it tonight, if we didn't extend these contracts, if we waited for another board, it'd be nothing short of dereliction of duty on the part of this Board of Education.
President, I have another amendment, please. Yes, ma'am. Another motion. So, I move that the contract for the General Counsel be removed from this motion. Is there a second? There is no second.
Second.
For discussion? There's no discussion. I'll call for the vote. We are voting to remove the contract from the General Counsel.
Okay, can you read the motion we're voting on, because I do have a couple of other points to make.
The vote is to remove the contract for the General Counsel.
And is that the only piece we're voting on?
Yes, that was the only motion made.
We vote on the amendments in the reverse order in which they're made.
So I'd like to actually speak to the motion.
Mr. Eberhart?
You know, a few minutes ago a motion was made and not seconded to move forward with dividing this motion up into several motions. I think that was, you know, I think if we move forward to pick and choose at this point which member of the senior staff we vote on first or second, or to look at each one of them individually, I think it's not necessary. I think we have done our evaluation of the superintendent. We've done our evaluation of the General Counsel. And I just think I feel that we should take these as the motion. That we should take the motion as one whole motion.
Then I would ask, why is Dr. Mildred Brown not there if we're not going to take people individually? I still am awaiting an explanation on that one. And that was President Whitmarsh put this on. I'd like to hear the explanation of why Dr. Brown is not on this list, if it's all senior administrators, as Mr. Eberhart says.
I didn't say it was all senior administrators.
Madam President, I move for a point of order. I believe that discussing other contracts is not germane to this particular amendment.
The chair rules that the point of order is well taken. So I will call for the vote. The motion fails 2-3-0-0.
We know where it is now.
So now we go back to our active motion being to approve a contract extension as presented for 1 year. Do we have?
And I would like to make a motion within that, and I move that that motion be postponed indefinitely.
Is there a second? There's no second. So we had a motion by Mr. Eberhart, a second by Ms. Denler to approve the contract extensions as presented for 1 year.
And in that, I'd like to clarify prior to the vote, back to something Mr. Eberhart was saying, which is he's not seen this happen before, and I think he may be not recalling that a couple of years back in the process, prior to my entry on the board, there was a situation with Superintendent McHenry and the board's interest in removing that superintendent. And I believe at the time there were a couple of board members at that time who suggested that we postpone contracts for superintendent's cabinet in order to get a new superintendent on board and allow that superintendent to make that selection. I believe Mr. Allen and Mrs. Mayo had supported postponing that decision because the idea is you don't want to saddle a new board with administrators they may or may not want, and you certainly don't want to saddle a superintendent with the same thing. So precedent has been set. I think to say it's not happened is inaccurate, and I can just remember that back just a couple of years ago when that occurred. I think it's a courtesy to a new board. I think it's more fiscally sound and responsible. I still am awaiting an answer, and I'll ask this quite pointedly, why this came forward tonight, and why when I've asked for 2 months to have this, this discussion around contract extensions postponed, why this did not get placed on the agenda and why this did not come forward as a discussion. So why tonight? Why is this suddenly on the agenda, President Whitmore?
The reason that this is on the agenda is because we finished the evaluation tonight.
It was put on before the evaluation.
Okay, in response to Ms. Hansen's question regarding my position in a previous contract, at that particular time, we were undergoing a superintendent search, and therefore, it was prudent to wait, in my view, at that particular time. Also, there were additional reasons that were, for my no vote that were included in my decision. And those were expressed at the meeting, but they may not be reflected in the minutes.
The video's been erased.
I will call for a vote. So the motion on the floor is to approve the contract extensions as presented for 1 year. Motion carries 4-1-0.
Shame.
The next item